I'm setting up here until more people will come in. I hope you can see everything good here. I've changed something with the lighting in hopes that now this side will be more with more light as opposed to the other lives that I've done. And I'll just wait for people to come in, and let's see if I can get the chat to work today. Okay, maybe I will see the chat. What I want to do today is continue. Hi Linda. Hi Mama Juju Crafting. Okay. What I want to do today is continue what we started the last live last week. Basically, I've taken all kinds of little pieces of paper napkins, just scraps, and glued them to a thick paper, and afterwards I've traced these two flowers and did a wash around it, and I felt like I've missed some of the things that I wanted to do, especially because this wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted my flowers to be the paper napkins, but things just decided not to dry. So what I've done is prepared more and I've done 3 other pages or whatever with paper napkins, and it still seems like I haven't made a depth in all the scraps, but here we go. Basically, these are masterboards that you can do anything that you want with them. And for those who missed the last live, I will put a link below in the description box, but that's only after the live is over. I can do editing and put stuff in the description box. So I've got these 3. I'm planning to use one of them to still do a background for an art journal page, do some flowers that will be the paper napkins and exclude some of the rest. We'll see. And then I want to go over with all kinds of stuff that we can do with these masterboards. So first of all, I'm going to take away this. This is from last week, so that's going aside. And here is an example for doing the same thing, just with our, let's call it painty paper scraps or collage scraps, whatever you have left and you don't want to get rid of, and you still want to have something to do with. This is the same thing that I've done with the paper napkins, I've done here. And as you can see, I've stenciled on top, made marks and all kinds of stuff. I believe this was also in one of my lives. So this one also goes aside, and we are left with these 3. So first of all, I want this one to be the background for an art journal page. And today I'm going to use this journal, and I'm just going to take a piece from this that will be my background for the page. So I'm just going to put this down like this and measure so I can cut it to size so it will cover my page. Here I'm not planning on stenciling on top and making marks. All the stenciling, making marks, stamping, and all of that will go on these 2. So putting them aside for now. and I'm going to do this. But first of all, since I see that the live is working, I will check who came in. Hi, Beth Ann, Sandy, Evie, and Gael or Gael. I'm sorry if I'm butchering names here. Okay, so just going to trim this. I'm aligning it with the lines I've got on my cutting mat, just so it would be easier for me. Okay. A lot of time when you are finishing gluing all the paper napkins or the painty papers, whatever you use, your page will not be straight. The simplest ways, of course, is to leave it once it's dry under some heavy stuff. If you don't want to wait for it to be under a heavy stuff, you can iron it. The way I go about it is I'm putting a towel underneath. I'm flipping it over like so. Don't iron directly on this. You will like activate the glue that is here. Then I spray it with water. I'm not going to do this now. Making sure that it has water on it. And then I put on top of it a parchment paper or like cookie sheets, and then I'm ironing on top of it, and that's how you get it to be straight. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to say, and now I'm going to glue this to my page. Okay, here we go. Just making sure that it's flat as much as I can, and of course, if you have the time, just flip it over and again let it sit for a while just to flatten it completely. But I'm not that it doesn't bother me too much. Okay, so I wanted to do some kind of flowers here, not the same flowers we've done last time. Again, you can do whatever focal image that you want. You can use a stencil to trace. I've taken a stencil last time, and by tracing it and making all the pieces connect, I've made this image of a flower, and then I traced it to my background. And I can also do it this time. I can take any kind of a stencil, just trace it, and again do the same thing. But I wanted to do something else for this page. I've taken a tracing paper and wanted to do some very free and very quirky I don't know what to call it, flowers. And now I'm going to take a pencil, a darker one. You probably can't see the lines that are here, and I just started with this kind of oblong and very freely went and do all kinds of sizes of petals like so. And I really tried to go about it freely and quirky and not symmetrical and not nothing. Anyone can do it. And it doesn't even have to be this kind of flower. You can do whatever flower that you like. You can decide that you don't like flowers and do butterflies for that matter. So here is another flower that I want to do, and I'm really aiming to do something not symmetrical. Something like that. And another one. And I'm also changing as I go. That's what's good with tracing paper. I've got all kinds of lines here, and each time I'm changing until I feel that I get what I want. And if I don't like it, I can always erase it and start again. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, good enough for me. So I've got some design that I want to transfer here. I'm going to put, let's see if I have here, I want to take a white page just so you can see what I've done. Here we go, very loose flowers, and I really hope that you can see what I've done. So now tracing it to my background. Easiest way with graphite paper, just underneath and trace it. If you are planning to do the lines or whatever you are planning to do the flowers with, if you don't want smearing with black, then go for just flipping the page and use a pencil like a 6B, 10B, 12B, which are softer and darker, and trace again the lines on the back side. And once you are getting over all the lines, you can flip it over and do the tracing. It will transfer. Of course, it would be a problem to see it with all these details, but it can be done. Another way to go about it, if you have graphite paper or whatever, tracing paper, if you call it like that, or all kinds of names for this, there are other colors than black, a little bit more difficult to find, but there is. And the chat just went away, don't know why. I'll again try and see what's going on. So, and another way to go about it is to take oil pastels, trace again, trace on the back, and then flip it over and go around. So if I have, it doesn't even matter if it's on this, if you've got other kind of a background, let's say dark blue, and you want to see your lines, pick something that will stand out on the blue, but just bear in mind that it will stay there. So pick something that will go with what you're planning. Okay, so I see the chat now. Let's see. Hi Jean, Melissa. Jojo. A&M Prospecting. Stephanie. Okay. I hope I haven't missed anyone. Yes, Jean, it's isn't it great that from all over the world we can do this? It still fascinates me. That's the only thing that I like about all this technology and social media and whatever. It's just great. Okay, so I'm gonna trace this, and I'm gonna use the graphite paper. I've got the AC working, that's why everything is gone with the wind. AC is there, so here we go. And now I need to trace my quirky flowers in the hopes that it will transfer okay, because I've got a lot of texture underneath from all the paper napkins. Now I could have also gone with all kinds of stencils and stamps on the background, but I figured that for the art journal page, I'm leaving it as is, and if I feel like I need something more later on, then I will add it. I'm thinking that I need also some leaves, and I haven't thought what kind of shape I want for the leaves. Okay. I hope I haven't missed a section. Not that it's that critical. Let's see. I'm holding it in place. Well, mostly. I can see what I've done here. Mostly. Maybe a little bit more pressure here. I'll do my best. It's not that important. Okay, moving this aside. And now I'm taking a black permanent marker, and I'm going to try and trace my flowers. And right now everything looks like a mess, but that's okay. All this texture also helps me to do quirky lines. Where this is going, don't know. Never mind. I'll just continue doing some kind of a petal that will work. Okay. You can hardly see this flower. Never mind. We shall overcome. Maybe if I will look on the original, I will have better way to trace it. Let's see. Can hardly see it. I'm going to go over the lines later on. Okay. Right now I just want to see where they are standing, the overall shape, and what kind of it also needs to be kind of quirky. Maybe something like that. Maybe let's go with it. Go with the flow. In a minute, when I start to exclude some of the background, you will see what is going on. Where am I going with all this crazy stuff? Okay. So we've got this. Can take this away. And turning off the AC. I think I reached the temperature that I needed to be. Okay, so for excluding some of the background, I've picked this cream color. You can pick whatever you want, whatever you feel like it. And I'm going to put some of the cream color here. This is plain acrylic paint. And let's see, I need a brush. Okay. So what I want to do is dilute some of the acrylic paint, but very little at first. What is close to the black lines is going to be more, let's say, opaque. And as I go outside and or get far from the black lines, I want it to disappear into the background. So first I'm just going around the shape, and this is not completely opaque. Not a great brush. I need to pick something else. I'll pick something else. Okay, so near the black, more opaque, and as I go outside, I will add more water until it disappears into the background. Now you can do the whole background, exclude all the background, not do what I'm doing right now, but I decided that that's how I want it to look. So next to the black lines, it's almost completely opaque. And then when I'm going outside and getting far from the black line, I'm less and less have paint on my brush. I'm just adding water to my brush and helping it blend, dissolve into the rest of the page. I hope I hope I'm making myself I'm explaining it so you understand what I'm talking about. I'm just checking the chat to see that I'm not missing something like questions. Okay. Now you can always go very lightly at first and add on as you go, because you can always add more, but you can't subtract. So I should have started on the left side so my hand won't get into all this, but that's okay. Just adding water. I prefer to do sections and do the blending and what to yeah, the blending into the background in sections, so I still have water, everything is still wet and I can blend it better, but it doesn't have to be like that. If you are going very lightly, you can always fix, as I said. Oopsie. Probably made you daisy. You can also do exclusion with more than one color. It doesn't have to go all the way with cream. I've done all kinds of exclusions when I've blended and switched between colors. It's really up to you. I'm trying to go quickly around the shapes so you can see what's going on. I can always decide also to go and exclude everything, but right now that's what I was planning. That was what I was planning last week, only things didn't dry as fast as I hoped. After I'm going around the shape, then I will start working on the black lines. The black lines that I've done now are only so I can see where my shape is, and I'm not working on it right now because I know that I will just, in several places, my acrylic paint will go on top of something and then I will have to fix it again. So I'm leaving it for last. Just taking water and blending. It's been 2 days that I haven't heard the effing pigeons, so it seems like that problem has been fixed. At last, they drove me crazy. And my boys are not at home. Well, now the older one came home today, but last week the younger one went to some kind like something like camp, but for adult teenagers. I don't know if they call this adult, and it's like a survival camp where they are doing everything like from scratch with hiking and building a fire and cooking food. So he's in camp for 3 weeks. The older one comes and goes whenever the military lets him. And it's so weird to have the house free of children. Never mind that both of them look, I don't know what to call it, like men. And I feel like I'm shrinking. I'm telling them each time that I feel like they grew up more, that I'm shrinking because of them. I never felt short until they started being more tall than me. So it's their fault I'm shrinking. It's so weird to not think, what do I have to cook for the kids? What I have to do? Not checking in the rooms where, if they are on the computer or if they are not in the room. Starting to see what's going on here. Okay. Missed here one leaf. Never mind, I'll just change. And also the stem here, missed it with all the details from the paper napkins, but that's why I'm leaving the black lines for last. It's a little bit difficult with the texture from the paper napkins, but it can be done, and I really like the texture. Always love the texture that I get from gluing paper napkins. If you followed my channel, you know that I've even sometimes glued the white backing of a paper napkin to a page as is white, just to get the texture. Yay! I'm really starting to like it. I'm just looking where I think it needs to be more opaque, and I'm adding. Sometimes it's because a piece of paper napkin is darker than the others that you need to go more opaque, and sometimes it just feels like a detail is just too much next to the image on your page. So just play with it. Okay, so for now I'm leaving it like this, and I'm going to let this dry a little bit before I'm going with the black marker. So I won't ruin another marker, and I'm going to check what is going on in the chat, that I didn't miss anything, and then we're going to start. I'm going to start unless you've done something like that and you want to go along. I want to start doing something on these two. So let's see, and let's drink something. Okay. Okay, let's see. So you'll have more time for to yourself. Yeah. Yes, I'm photographing all kinds of work that I've done in the past, and probably there is going to be a website in the near future, so I'm working on that stuff. Okay. Stephanie, yes, I used acrylic paint to do the exclusion. Mark is here. Okay, hi Mark. My camera is out of focus. I can see in both phones clearly. That's Is everyone seeing not a clear picture? Okay, so all kinds of ways to, of course, you can use them as is. That's sometimes I use them as is, and all kinds of stuff can be done with it. And what I usually do on this kind of masterboards, I stencil. You can stamp, but stamping on this texture is mostly you can't see it very much. It's hard to get a good stamp on it, and mostly it gets lost in all the details. But if you have a masterboard like this, here I've taken paper napkin scraps that have a white background, so I've got lots of white in between. It's more light than this one. Okay, if I'm really wanting to have let's say there is a butterfly stamp that I really want to have here, then the best way to go about it, I'm going to demonstrate it, is to take the white backing of a paper napkin. I've got two here, so I'm going to separate. You only need one. So you take the backing of a paper napkin, and I'm going to take here this dragonfly stamp, just because I've already got some dragonflies here on the back. Okay, so I've got this dragonfly, an acrylic block, and here you need to use any kind of a ink pad, just ones that are permanent, because it's going to be glued and you don't want everything to get smeared. And now I can just start stamping on the white backing, as many as I want. I'm only going to do two right now because it's not really important. And now you are going to take it out of the paper napkin with a very fine brush with water. You just go around. Even with permanent Ink pads, sometimes it's better to wait like 2 minutes for it to settle. Right now it's not that important, so I'm going through just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I want a dragonfly. What I'm going to do is take again the paper napkin glue, which is diluted with water, and a soft brush, soft flat brush. That's what is better for paper napkins. Decide where I want it. Let's say here. Putting glue, putting this and going gently with the flat of the brush like so. And when it's dry, the white disappears into the background and it seems like you've stamped it directly on the page. So that's how you go about stamping on texture. You can also stamp on tissue paper and then take the tissue paper and put it like this, but it's best with the white backing of a paper napkin. It disappears more, and it's easier to work with than white tissue paper, but it can be done with white tissue paper. So that's that. I'm going to take this aside. So here I've got a background, a masterboard that is darker. I've used here more pieces from dark paper napkins. Not all, but more. And the way I usually go about it, I'm stenciling on top, and that's completely up to you what you want on your masterboard. It can be anything, and even if you don't have stencils, you can make marks. You can make marks with acrylic paint and a brush. You can make marks with Posca pens, which are acrylic markers. Let's see. It can be anything. I'm just going to wing it, which is the best way to go about it. That's how I see it, at least. Posca pens always giving me trouble. Always. I'm going to also stencil, but I just want to show how easy it is to create something out of nothing without any kind of special stencils. Just making marks also works. So making marks can be with just a plastic card, with brushes, with all kinds of objects that have a graphic shape. Mostly when I'm doing it, I like to pick circles. Let's see. My stash of circles. Okay, here we go. Or this oblong shape is from deodorant stick. It comes on top. It also can create a shape. So all kinds of stuff can create a shape. So you don't really need anything special. I don't have enough paint here. Never mind. Again, now you can do all kinds of shapes, all kinds of mark making. You can use all kinds of colors. Mostly, not always, I go for a white and black on top of this kind of a busy background, for that matter. And again, even this, because I've got a lot of texture, it's a little bit difficult to get the shape, but for me it's not about doing precise shapes, especially that I know that this is going to be cut. So that's the things that you can do without any kind of stencil. And if you are using stencil, if you have stencils, then it can be anything. It can be letters, it can be numbers, it can be any graphic shape that you want. It can be small, it can be large. I can decide that I want this flower all over. I can decide that I just want everything with letters or numbers. So it's really up to you. And I'm just going to start stenciling, and I'm going to stencil with this paint just because I have it here. I've masked around this shape because I like it. And I thought it would be nice to have in the background. Now, if you really want it to be very visible, very precise, then when you're going with something light like this, the cream color on top of dark color, then you probably will need more than one layer. I'm just spreading it randomly. On the page. I'm calling it the page, but it can be a masterboard or whatever. It can be a page in an art journal. It can be anything that you want. Just by stenciling this, I am already in love with this page. What can I say? And I really like this shape. So I'm thinking what will happen if I'll do the same shape but with another color like black. Let's go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Putting black here, taking another sponge, makeup sponge, and let's see. Yay. Sometimes just one single shape from a stencil can do wonders. Basically, doing this kind of stuff, stenciling, stamping, doing marks, you are bringing all all the masterboard together, you are creating something more cohesive, because you can see the same pattern going again and again. You can also overlap. So, like if I've got here a circle that I've done by making a mark with a circle object, if I want, I can overlap some of the on top of the circle. It doesn't have to be each element needs to be in its place. You can overlap. Basically, you can do anything that you want. There are no rules to it. I really, 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 really like it. Yeah. Just taking like a step back to see if I need a little bit more somewhere. Yeah. And yeah, I like it. You can also do splatter. You can do so many things. Okay. Let's see. You can even take a marker and just scribble away, write on it if you like. Let's see. What do else I want here? Maybe this shape? This can be fun. Maybe another color. I'm thinking what color to put here. Light blue maybe. Maybe. Let's go with light blue. I haven't checked the chat, but Linda is probably telling me to use purple. I'll check the chat in a minute. I really like doing this stuff. It never turns out the same. Each time you pick different stencils and colors, and each time you get something else, and it's just, I don't know, I love it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what I've missed in the chat. I also need to drink something. Melissa said turquoise. Okay. Linda purple. Mind reader. Yeah, right. Okay. So we've got a masterboard that we like. You stop when you like it. And then you can use it however you want. And I'm going to do some stuff with this today, just so you can see. And of course, I've wasted paint on my hand. Of course, I managed to get into the paint, no matter what. It's a special talent of mine. Yeah. Okay. Let's move the paint. I'll squish it in one of my leftover paint. Here we go. Squish. Squishing. Yeah. And that's how you get more painty papers. Okay, another thing to decide. Just removing some of the stuff here. Okay, so as I said, this can be a cover for an art journal or a journal, whatever you want. It can be bookmarks, greeting cards, ATCs, tags, whatever you want. You can punch all kinds of shapes out of it. I want to do some of each. So I've got here, I always have this is a watercolor paper. These are for bookmarks. I always have at the ready bookmarks tags. These are made from ugly 12 by 12. That's what I'm using most of my ugly 12 by 12 for the backing of tags. And from each 12 by 12 I can get 8 tags like this. I also have blank cards. These I think these I bought from Temu. You can also use plain game cards and to do whatever you want on top of them. And I also have this greeting cards that come greeting cards with a matching envelope. So, and I refuse to use this awful color. Don't know why it always In every pack you have this awful color. Barbie and Bazooka Joe's love child. Blah. So, of course, with the bookmarks and the tags, I can take more of my paper napkin scraps or painty papers, and I can directly glue to the blank bookmark or tag or whatever. But a lot of the time I like to create from the same masterboard a few bookmarks, a few tags, and so on. So that's another way to go about it. And I want to, I think I still have some bookmarks that I've done with, yeah. These two were made directly with the leftovers of painty papers. I just glued leftovers and made these bookmarks. So that's also something that you can do. And when I'm using this to do all tags and bookmarks, most of the time I will just flip it over and just start gluing to the back, because I really don't care where the details are. I'm just gonna put glue like so. A lot of the time when I'm gluing to the back, I'm staying a little bit away from the edges, because there is always some kind of a problem with the edges. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't, I prefer to stay like 2 millimeters from the edge, and when it's fixed, I'm just going and trimming. Now I can do 1, I can do 10, I can do how many I wish to do from this masterboard. I'm just taking out the shape right now. Very easy to do. Very quick once you've got it. The masterboard, you can do as many as you want, especially if I've got a project in the making, if I'm doing a journal and it's got a theme, and it doesn't matter if the theme is by color or by subject, and I most of the time like if I have a journal that, let's say the theme is C, so I will get something with lots of elements of C, and then I will want to have more than one tag or bookmark or whatever, or ATC. So that's why a lot of the time I will make more than one tag from the same masterboard and more than one bookmark. So this is it. Here we've got a tag. Of course, I can now go around and darken the edges with an ink pad. I'm using a cheap one because through time the paper just damaged the pad. So a cheap one just for this. And of course, doing a hole here, I can also make put some words here, I can put focal point if I want to, and I can leave it as is. It only depends on you and what you want to have. So here is a tag. Let's move it right now. I'm taking now a bookmark, and of course I can just take a piece out of the masterboard and it can be the bookmark itself, but I like to have a nice backing. That's why it's cleaner, it's nicer. That's why I go about it this way. But I could have taken the same size, just cutting it from the masterboard and call it done, because it's already on a 240 gram page, and on top of it all the napkin scraps, so it's thick. So the only reason I'm gluing this piece is just because I like to have a nice backing, not because I need it to be more sturdy. Just again in place and cutting it out. I could have also traced it with a pencil and then cut it out. It depends what's easier for you. Here we go. One bookmark. Again, you can do a hole at the top and put some ribbons and all kinds of stuff to decorate it. Even on this, I can decide to put words, I can do a focal point, or I can leave it be. Yeah. Just so you will get what I'm talking about, here is a focal point. Of course, it's larger than this, but something like that will work nicely on a bookmark or a tag. So here it is. And now for a greeting card. And again, when I'm doing something like this, I have a masterboard that I really like, then I will probably do more than one greeting card from the same masterboard. And here I decide about the size that I would like to be on my greeting cards, and I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to cut it. Here we go. I'm just going to align it with the lines on the cutting mat. Same process, going around. Just because I like it, you don't have to. You can also use a permanent marker or an acrylic marker to go around and make some edges. if that's what you want. And here we go, but I think I'll go like this. With greeting cards, I really like to put something heavy on top to make sure that it stays in place, because even after a little bit of ironing, it's not completely flat. But if I have patience and I'm holding it like this, then it will stay flat until the glue is dry altogether. And again, you can leave it as is, you can do a focal point, you can put words on it, up to you. Here we go. Let's see. A mess here. I need every few weeks I need to organize, put things in place. Okay, so I've got this, and I've got the program here. Okay. Whew. Something just got stuck in a drawer and I wrestled it out. Let's see. Okay, so I want to put an eyelet on both of this. I bought it from the cheap store. It's not great, but it's doing the job. It was in the hardware aisle, not in the craft section. And before I had this and the eyelets, what I used to do is take this stickers that you put on paper, and I used to color them, if you can see here, with gold acrylic paint or a gold acrylic marker, and then I would have glued them like this. So that's another way to go about it if you don't have eyelets to put in the holes. I need to drink. You can put varnish, but you don't need to, because when you're gluing the paper napkins, you go with glue underneath and then with glue on top, and the glue is working as a sealant. But if you want more, I don't know what to call it, maybe a little bit more glossy look than varnish, you can use varnish, and it's better to use water-based varnish. If something gets wet, the varnish on paper won't help you. It doesn't matter if you will put varnish on this. If now I spill this and it was varnished, it will still be damaged. So varnish won't help it. Maybe if you went with varnish on both sides of the paper, then maybe it will be protected. But if you are very worried about protecting pieces of paper like this from liquids, then you probably need to buy a, what it's called, the machine, lamination, so you can laminate. I don't know what to call, how it's called, when you put the paper beneath two plastic sheets, and that will protect it. Bye, Sandy. Laminate, yeah, laminate it. Okay. Oops. I'm not great at this. Okay. Managed to do it somehow. Another one. It was very cheap from the cheap store. Okay, good enough. Oh, for God's sakes. And of course now you can put ribbons, you can put twines, whatever you feel like it. So here it is, and let's see what's going on with this one. Back to the original page. Maybe I will go and all over, but right now I'm leaving it be. And let's see. I'm going over the lines. And you know I like wobbly lines. So I'm doing that also. I need maybe, no, this is not what I was looking for. Yeah. Just black permanent marker. Yeah. Yeah, with this one, it's starting to look better. I was trying to be subtle, and sometimes subtle doesn't work. I think it's starting to look better. Starting to take shape. Yeah, that's what I what I was aiming for last week. I'm just haven't decided yet if to leave it as is in terms of the background, or pushing back more of this. Not sure. I also want a little bit more details in the flowers, and I'm taking the smaller tip permanent marker. I'm just going to do all kinds of lines. It's a little bit difficult where I have more wrinkles from the paper napkins. Of course, it's up to you if you want to do something like that. Just felt like I needed more detail. Almost done. At least with this. I'm still thinking of stenciling on the other masterboard with the paper napkins, the lighter ones, the ones that were with white background. We'll see. I'm thinking of doing something inside, maybe gold, maybe. Yeah, why not? Gold it is. Yeah. I'm really liking this page. I think I'll leave it be. Maybe later on I will look at it and think about pushing back the rest of the background, but right now I'm leaving it be. I really like what this simple design here. Okay, so that's again another thing to decide. Here is the other masterboard. Let's move this. And I really wanted a dark green on top of it, and I figured this could be interesting. Of course, it could be a, I don't know if to call it a disaster, because I've got lots of going on here, but as I always say, what the worst that could happen is just paper napkin scraps. I've got so much more. I can probably, I don't know, probably my grandchildren will have paper napkins also. So yeah, I think I'll try and do this. Let's see. It can also, don't know if it will work. This is again a acrylic paint, and it's from the cheap store, so not great quality of acrylic paint, but let's see what will happen. Again, this is just a masterboard, so, and it will be cut or used as a cover for a journal. Okay, so it's not that, yeah, it worked. It's not, it looks nice. I just want to put it in all kinds of directions on the page. I can already see how this kind of page or masterboard can, I will probably use it as a cover for an art journal. Probably. I can also overlap, and I can also use different shades of green, but I feel like this is good enough, so I'm just keeping with this shade of green. The only thing is that I'm changing the direction of the stencil, so it would be more interesting. Yeah. Really, really liking it. What can I say? Oh boy, I'm getting tired, folks, from all this stenciling. Loving it. That's what I have to say. I really love it and how it's coming. Okay, I'm going to finish stenciling on it later on. You got my drift of how to work on this kind of a background. What I wanted to do is, after this, what that we've done, the tag, the bookmark, and the greeting card, when I'm left with small pieces, after I've done more than one tag, more than one bookmark, what I like to do is take all kinds of punches that I have and take out shapes out of it. And it doesn't have to be a punch. Of course, it's a little bit difficult to cut by hand, again, because now it's thick, but whenever I have left small pieces, then I will take all kinds of shape out of this kind of a masterboard and do all kinds of other stuff. If it's to decorate an art journal page, if it's to again put some hole here and make a small tag, it's also an option. And of course, if you are cutting by hand, you can do any shape that you want. And if you have punches, you can just have fun with it. So let's just take another one. Okay. So I've got something to play with. And I wanted to try and do something else. Haven't tried it before. I just thought about it today. Let's see if it will work. I've got a nice piece here. I think that's what I'm going to use. Bear with me. I just thought about it. Well, I thought about two things. I'm going to try and do them. This is one nice piece, and let's see. So two more ideas coming up. I just need to cut it straight here. Okay, let's see. I'm eyeballing it because I don't know if my idea will work, so okay. I'll probably punch more from this leftover. Okay, so this one, I want to make it into a cylinder, I think it's called. Let's say like the toilet paper roll, the inside. Yeah. And just because I really don't know how it will work, I'm going to, let's, not enough room. Never enough room for everything. Okay, so right now I'm using a stapler, but if I had now the time, I would have put a glue here and put two paper clips and let it dry completely. Right now I'm just putting some like this just to see if it will work. Okay, so now I'm just smooshing it like this, only at the ends. And let's see, I need a stylus, or yeah, I'm taking no, I want you to see what I'm doing, so I'll mark it with black permanent marker just so you will see. I'm just doing some kind of this shape like so, and also on this side. Don't know if it will work. It just now I'm trying it, and I'm going with the stylus and trying to make a little bit of an indentation, and also on this side. Don't know if it will work. Never tried it. So what I'm going to try now is just to fold it like so, and the other side also. And well, I've managed it. What do you know? I'm going to put glue here. This will be the prototype because it has the stapler on it. And the same thing is going to be on the other side. Basically what I thought is that I can make some kind of packaging for small gifts. So once you put whatever you want inside, you close. The glue here is still wet. You do the same thing on this side, like so, and you close it and you have a nice packaging. So that's one crazy idea I had for this kind of thing. And the other one, I need to grab something. I'll be back. Let's see. Okay, other idea. I've got this brown paper bag, very simple, again from the cheap store, and I figured I can do something on it. With this I need to cut it because it's a large, too large for this paper bag. Okay, so I've got this, and I'm thinking that I want to go around just using another black marker. Yeah. So that's in place. Now what I want to do, I want to fold some of it to the inside. It's just too much for the paper bag, and then just go and do handles for the paper bag, and then I've got another paper bag for putting all kinds of gifts inside. So that was the second idea to do with this stuff. Now I'm going to try and fold it now, but this is not dry completely, so I'm worried about this moving, but I'll try doing my best. Maybe if I'll mark again with very gently with the stylus, it will help me fold the paper bag where I want it. I can also trim it if worst comes to worst. Maybe, you know what, I'm gonna leave it like this. Don't know. And now I can punch 2 holes and put twine, or I can just take the leftover and make handles out of it. Let's see, just need to take this apart, and you can make handles just by folding and I'm doing another one. Cutting the excess that I don't need. I'm doing it quite quickly because it really doesn't matter. And let's just say this is also just a prototype, so you can see what I'm talking about. And put glue here. Oopsie. Okay. So of course now there is a mark here, but now you just take and do whatever a size you want for a handle here and for the other side. So just so you will know, that's another way to go about it. Yeah, I think I covered all my crazy ideas to use this these master boards, and even this after doing handles, I can always add another like this as a tag and write something or put a sticker with a word. I can again do any kind of a focal point if I want to, or leave it as is. So that's it. That's it for me for this day. I'm parched and I'm going to check the chat because I've neglected you. Hi to everyone that I've missed. Thank you for coming in. It's great. Just checking the chat. Yeah. Okay, I hope I haven't missed anything. If you have questions, if you can, only if you can, put it in caps lock in big letters so I can see it. Wow. I hope I covered everything. Just taking another punch. And I try not to accumulate more scraps. I'm really trying. I'm trying to use everything and not more things to add to the stashes. That's it. You see this? I'm putting it in the trash. That's it. No more. I've used it. That's it. I've got more scraps. I don't need more. I've let go from that piece of paper. When you if you have punches and you make all kinds of shapes like this, it can be as decoration to an art journal page, and it can also be something to add as a little tag, just so it won't be the same as regular tags. And it can also decorate an envelope like so, depending on the size. So lots of stuff to do with all this thing. And I still got more to play with. More masterboards, more scraps. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so that's it for me. I'm done. Well done. So I'll say goodbye to you all. Thank you for coming in. It's great to have you. It's great to have an audience that I can react to, even if I can't view the chat every minute. But it's just great. So thank you, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.